Hello and welcome to the Irish Pagan School YouTube channel, where we are continuing our recording of the metrical Dinnshenchas. So today we are looking at Bóinde poem, the second poem. So this would be poem 4 in volume 2. So if you have, no, it would be poem 3, sorry, my apologies, poem 3 in volume 2. So if you have missed the rest of this, then make sure that you check out the playlist and you will get an introduction to what we're doing, why we're doing it, and then all the other good stuff with the previous episodes. So Bóinde part 2 begins, O nobles of Brug, a might that is not deceitful, with feetful points, royal is the road. Know ye the story of every lord that is here in the brew of the mac in oak. Behold the fairy mound before your eyes. It is plain for you to see. It is a king's dwelling. It was built by the harsh Dagda. It was a shelter. It was a keep renowned for strength. Behold the bed of the red Dagda on the slope with rough rigour. He paid noble court after the chase to a fair woman free from eld and sorrow. Behold the two paps of the king's consort, here beyond the mound west of the fairy mansion, the spot where Kermit the Fair was born. Behold it on the way, not a far step. Whither came the wife of the son of noble Nemet to a tryst to meet the swift Dagda, and her dog after her, though it was a long journey from afar. Whither came Mither from Brille to bear off the prince? It was a lucky find. So he bore the mac in oak from the ford, with a shield in his protection, though he was weary. Thereafter was brought a clever compact, the boy on that day 9 full years after, to his father. It was a fitting command to the loved Dagda at his house. Entertainment was made by him for the king, in the mound by means of lasting deception. Thence is named, it is not a question without a key, Duma Treshk, before the eyes of the hosts. Thereafter the stern Dagda refused his request, to whom belonged the keep. It was no abode of grief. So he dwelt in Aachen, a journey with lamentation, after warlike labour, after a time of carousing. The grave of Esclap, pilgrimage revered, where good men used to cast lots, a sword with a brave portion, a deed without concealment. For the son of Calpurn, it was a path of grace. Know ye the well of Búrg the good, his successor throughout the plain, from which he drew a draught, a drink for the host, honoured deed. Know ye the grave of grim Kellach, with wailing in unison, filling the breezes. By a swift heroic pair he died, when he was in the north on idle clamour of fools. Know ye the grave of the horse of the king, Kinnaid, free from shame of avarice. He bore off victory from fleet ones of the bridle, at the will of the son of noble Irchalach. The comb, the casket of the woman, in whatever place each of them is, it shall abide till the doom come. Their beauty shall not grow less and less. Behold before you, it was the boast of every bard. It was the grave of noble man, fame without decay. Bear witness, it is the meadow land of a rough race, the mound of Allard on the hill slope. There was caused bloodshed by its chief upon the resort of ridges and territories. That was a general vengeance of the tribes in the place where the great Morrigan was smitten. Know ye for noted deeds, with theme of song truly bright, with scores of chiefs, the plain of bright actions, where shields used to be, the prison of the grey, where the grey steed was. Know ye by the refuse of heads, the glen where the sluggish Matha dwelt. It was slain after the incursion of lithe hosts. Much havoc was wrought there. Thereafter came a deed without concealment, the kings from a pleasant land towards him, to view the vast Matha, and each planted on him pitilessly his stone. Bóinde planted his keen stone in the portion which is called Finn's seat. In presence of the hosts of the glens he left his head on the plain of Murrage Mend. Thereafter came the mighty Ulsterman, Con's proper share, against him, to strive with the might of the sluggish Matha, so his limbs were broken on Lech Bend. A solid barrow was built by them for a rampart over the bones of the beast. That was the trophy, a fight with lamentation, which it possessed with victory and might. The wall of Angus the blameless, the name Arthur Onlusa clave to it, the son of Crundmail, on whom fell guilt, when he had drunk mead till he was mad. Royal the contest at the cast of the Mach ind Oak, whence did it arise, when the eye of mighty Mither was broken? Is there any of you who can recount it? Sorry for that door opening interruption. We really need our studio here. We need our IPS HQ so that we can record in peace and quiet, which doesn't happen very often in this household. So this is an interesting one because it makes reference to the Dagda, of course, but the harsh Dagda, the stern Dagda. It tells the story perhaps of the conception and birth of Angus, which is the Mach ind Oak, or makes reference to it at least. The paps of the king's consort here beyond the mound west of the fairy mansion, that is Dalkeith na Mairne. So it's interesting that she's the king's consort there. I don't know, is that like referring to somebody else that the Dagda lay with, or was there another king's consort who was associated with those? Dalkeith na Mairne is the two paps or the two breasts of the Morrigan, and these are tombs or mounds which are exactly to the west of Brú na Bóinde, of the Newgrange monument and mound. So that is the spot where Kermit the Fair was born. I don't know offhand who Kermit's mother was, but that would be a possible connection there. So if I remember correctly, Kermit was one of the Dagda's sons. So that would be the Dagda then that's referring to. We do have a class at the Irish Pagan School on the Dagda's children, where you can find out much more about this than I know, as taught by John. So he is our lore keeper here at the Irish Pagan School. I just do my best with all of it. But anyway, that was interesting. The wife of the son of noble Nemij. If you know the answer to this, by the way, feel free to comment below and let me know what I'm missing here, because I feel like I'm missing quite a bit as we go through this. There is mention of the Morrigan. There's also mention of the comb and the casket. And it's mentioned elsewhere as the brush and the comb. And that, to my knowledge, is a reference to that site, Dalkeith na Mairne. But it does seem to be referencing multiple other graves as we go down through it. So I don't know if all of these warriors were buried within this same burial mounds, or whether we've kind of spread out across the comb and the casket of the woman. Now, of the woman, to me, is always the Morrigan. So when you see, particularly in reference to the Dagda, she is his woman. And when we're hearing stories about her, he is usually the man who is with her, such as in Tombo Regavna. That is my take on it. It is not clear from the text exactly who the woman or the man is in those stories, but it is a pattern that comes up enough that it leads me to believe that when we see the woman in reference to the Dagda, that would be the Morrigan, and when we see the man in reference to the Morrigan, that would be the Dagda. So it adds a little glimmer of each of them to each other's tales. And obviously they're named as husband and wife straight out, but the Morrigan here is smitten apparently. So I don't know if that's in battle or in love, but that is an interesting one too. And then talks about more graves basically and sluggish Matha. So I'm not familiar with the Matha story, but there's a lot in the Dinnshenchas that is like brief references like this in relation to the landscape. It is the lore of place names. So it is describing or remembering stories of people, of entities, of warriors, of heroes, of gods, who, as we can see, can be referenced in multiple different ways, and then connecting them to these particular locations. So there's all of these tantalizing glimpses through the Dinnshenchas that really kind of give us that little bit of extra kind of flavor text, of hints, of tips about these beings or entities that we would like to form relationships with. So it is a good idea to be familiar with the Dinnshenchas, which is why we are going through this, and to use it as a jumping off point for your relationships with Irish gods and goddesses and kings, heroes, warriors, ancestors, queens, all that good stuff. So hopefully that's been useful to you, and we will be back next time with poem 4 from volume 2, which is Inver Nalbina. So we will be looking at that the next day. So make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you join the mailing list as well. There's a link to the mailing list below. Okay, slán go fóill. Bye.